Everything ends, eventually. In Daniel Larson's case, his freedom is going to be ending very soon. Now, Daniel's been arrested so many times and let out with very little happening that it's not even funny at this point. So when I first heard he was getting arrested again, I just shrugged and thought, he'll be out in a few days, if that. Not a big deal. Yeah, I was dead wrong on that, because it turns out Daniel is facing charges from the feds. Yeah, did anybody see that coming? Because I sure didn't. But the feds got him on 7, yes, you heard that right, 7 counts of terroristic threats. And there goes my monetization for saying that. Now, that's probably not too surprising given how many times on video Daniel has made threats against people and institutions. It's pretty on brand for him at this point. You know, on top of the whole being creepy and obsessed about Grace Vanderwall. So we're going to be talking about it and going into just what these 7 charges are and what's been going on since this news broke. But before we get into the video, a word from our sponsors. This video is sponsored by me and my 2 books I have for sale. If you want an intense, action-packed sci-fi fantasy story featuring giant robots, aliens with waterbending powers, and cyborg ninjas, look no further than Renegades Volume 1 Rise. As the world of Terra basks in a newfound peace after a worldwide conflict, an insidious plot to annihilate non-humans is quickly unfolding. Driven by a sadistic maniac named Ivan, his relentless onslaught of human terrorists are on the hunt for a mysterious item known as Project L. In this dark hour, a motley crew of individuals answer the call and rise up to challenge him. With unique and varying abilities, they must survive harrowing battles against Ivan's forces and unravel the secrets surrounding Project L if they hope to save their world from sinking into chaos. Will these renegades be able to vanquish the evil that looms over them? Can they triumph and restore order to Terra? Or will their mission fail and doom the planet forever? If you want something more humorous, you may want to check out Tales of the Edgeworlds Volume 1. It's an off-the-wall sci-fi fantasy action comedy series with no rules or limits. This wild 4-story package takes you on an adventure throughout the disorderly and broken edge of a multiverse that's like nothing you've seen before and delivers unforgettable laughs and thrills along the way. You'll meet mutants, space vampires, interplanetary mafias running giant casinos, and cyborg space pirates. Anything and everything goes in the Edgeworlds. Get ready for a wild ride. Both links will be in the description and in the pinned comment. Also be sure to check out my website. It's got more info on both books and the lore surrounding them. Alright, back to the video. One thing I want to bring up is the feds have a 95 to 99% conviction rate. And the reason why is because most people end up taking a plea deal because they see how, brutal the charges or the sentence could be if they get the max charges and stuff. And they're just like, yeah, no, I'll take the plea deal. I ain't trying to mess with y'all like that, especially if they know the feds got them dead to rights. I bring all that up to say that Daniel could be looking at over 60 years in jail if he gets the max sentences for all these charges. And if that does happen, he won't be getting out of there until he's 80-something. So yeah, even though I'm kind of laughing a little bit, this ain't a game. At least, it ain't a game if you're Daniel. Or the feds. Like, they ain't fucking around with them. Now, news of his arrest first broke on his community tab. At first, everything was relatively normal, at least as far as Daniel goes. Aside from one post where either Daniel or somebody who has access to his YouTube account made a post claiming the FBI had shown Daniel some CP. Yeah. In between this, there was some other goofier stuff, like Daniel being photoshopped as a cardinal. Then, coming completely out of left field, there was a post about Daniel being arrested. On top of that, someone on Snapchat had footage of the arrest, and this took place at a restaurant. It should be playing in the background. According to Daniel, in a call later on, he was taken to the probation office and then put into the custody of the feds. This took place on April 30th. A Reddit post from 11 days ago at the time I'm recording this, link in the description, said the FBI brought this case before a grand jury and a group of 23 people heard all the evidence to decide if they had enough to charge the guy. And obviously, since we're sitting here talking about this right now, that answer was yes. And a judge filed an arrest warrant and indictment on April 25th. This post goes on to state that if he does receive the max sentence for all these charges, he's looking at 65 years in prison. However, the post claims that he's not likely to get the max sentence on all these charges. I don't know what the odds are on that. happening. I ain't a legal expert. But yeah, the feds have been investigating Daniel for a while, and apparently they've been doing so since the middle of 2023 because he made terror threats that got their attention. And what's really like mind-boggling here is that at some point way earlier, Daniel had mentioned that a special agent named Daniel McDougal was interviewing him. And because Daniel likes to lie a lot and say crazy shit, most people didn't think Agent McDougal was a real guy. But no, he is quite real, and he was investigating Daniel. Probably still is. So let's look at these 7 charges brought against Daniel. The first one is due to him making threats against a specific county courthouse in Colorado. And I should also mention for each of these charges, the word explosives are mentioned. So yeah, not looking good for Daniel. The second one is for threatening a non-profit organization in Colorado. The third one mentions him making threats to government buildings, including the White House. Yes, Daniel went there. Not smart. Definitely not smart. The fourth count is another government building in Colorado. As far as I know, the specific building hasn't been named, but it's a state government building. So either way, you definitely shouldn't be making threats like that against it. I mean, you shouldn't be making threats like this, period, government or not, but especially not a government building. The fifth charge is against a Colorado campus, and this is from back in September, and this is probably the same one where he got arrested when he was trying to meet Deion Sanders. I covered that in a short video a while ago, but it actually gets worse. The sixth count is him threatening an FBI agent. And from a call to Clark that we're going to cover later, he was threatening he was threatening Agent McDougal. Last but certainly not least is him threatening the FBI building directly. I think it's safe to say Mans is royally fucked. And most of these are from late summer of 2023 too, so he was on a roll last year. He was busy. I don't think his low-cal plot armor is going to get him out of this one unscathed. At least not without facing some serious prison time, or at least time in some sort of mental institute. And regardless of if he spends the full 65 years in jail, he only spends like 10 years in jail, I doubt they're gonna allow him on social media anymore, since that's where all of his threats were coming from. Now, maybe he'll take a plea deal for a lesser sentence. I have a feeling that may happen, but I don't know. We actually have a phone call from Daniel talking to his manager, a buddy troll named Clark. We'll talk more about Clark in a second, because Clark is pretty interesting, to say the least. But this call took place on May 1st, and this was uploaded to Flexburger's channel.
Oh my god. I'm doing okay. The feds pretty much got me.
The feds got you?
This time the feds got me. And Bob told me that it wasn't going to happen and he didn't believe me. And I went to probation yesterday, and sure enough, the feds were there, and they charged me with 7 counts of threats from the threats that I made.
7 counts of threats?
And Associates.
Yep, under federal court.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And not only that, the feds apparently are looking into Bob for his finances, and the feds are also, on top of that, now looking into my bank statement, see the real amount that he was giving me.
So they think Bob was also committing fraud as well?
They think that he's committing fraud.
Holy shit.
Money through his bank account, or is he giving you cash and you're putting it into your bank? And I said both.
Shit. And why did they take you up to... Are you in...
Property of Larson League.
And flipping of all places.
What the hell? Yeah, because I missed your call last night because I didn't have my debit card or my credit card with me, and I was like, all right, I'll just have to wait till tomorrow. Everyone said...
Right, don't worry about that.
Okay.
It's okay. I did also talk to the public defender. I have court on Monday.
Okay.
Okay, and it is federal court. They were saying that I'm a flight risk and all the garbage, that they're going to say. But, they're saying that, yes, I would be facing prison time if convicted, but my public defender was saying that with me being homeless 5 years and being out in cold weather,
Recorded by Clark and
I feel like I'm going to
Associates.
die and I'm panicking. And when I panic, I say things that I don't mean.
Sure.
And I didn't mean the threat. I don't know how to make explosives, stuff like that. They said that, well, you know, that is true, you know, and that is, I guess, good defense.
That's perfect to say. I would listen to your public defender because he's 100% right. There's no way you could actually make a bomb or do anything that you said.
I guess they're considering, they're calling it interstate threat.
Okay.
They're saying that it's threats and interstate threat.
Jeez.
They're not calling it like terrorist threats. They're not saying anything like that. But they are saying their biggest concern is apparently DDRC. They had to fully evacuate.
Jeez.
Recorded by Clark and Associates.
And after like comments you made one time, they had to evacuate like the whole building or something.
Yep, and they brought in bomb-sniffing dogs.
Jesus Christ.
Because like DRC gets took so which I mean proves kind of how stupid they are, you know, because they know me so well that like they know I'm not going to do that. Kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, like why would they even waste their time? They know who you are.
Right. Like they know who I am. I don't know why they're going to waste their time. And not only that, the FBI is still saying things about you, and not only you, but now Discord server. Because I know you're
Property
not
of
even
Larson.
Was it McDougal that picked you up, or was it different secret server?
Believe it or not, it was McDougal, and he did actually say that, like, in the end, he doesn't really care that I did the threat against him.
Daniel mentioned in this call that the feds are investigating a Discord server, and I'm pretty sure this is the Discord server that he and his buddy trolls that call themselves managers, or that he calls managers, were in, and they were talking to him. So most likely the buddy trolls are being investigated too. They might not be safe either, especially since some of them have been encouraging Daniel's behavior, outright telling him to do things like freaking out at restaurants. And there was one clip where they were telling him to spit on a restaurant owner and stuff like that. So they might have been instigating him to make some of these crazier threats that are getting him in trouble now. But I don't know for sure on that. But there's some claims going around that some of these people were sending him CP, which, if that's true, that's absolutely insane. And yeah, lock them up right now. Just right away. I should also mention, and I found this in a video made by Larson Leak Raw with narration by a documentary YouTuber named Kusari, that law enforcement reached out to the managers, and the managers provided proof of Larson's threats, which helped law enforcement get all the proof they needed to arrest him. So make of that as you will. I don't know where to stand on the managers at this point. Moving on though, we need to talk about Clark. So, Clark has been buddy trolling Daniel for at least 10 months. Clark has been acting like Daniel's friend and putting lies into Daniel's head to get him to believe things like Clark has talked to Grace Vanderwall or is in contact with her, and that telling him that she's into him and stuff like that. He's also been the one that's been leaking phone calls when Daniel has been getting arrested. But due to everything going on right now, Clark decided to cut ties with him, likely due to him being in the feds' crosshairs too, for associating with Daniel. On top of that, Clark says how he's lost his girlfriend over this and may have flunked out of school. So he ain't making the wisest decisions either. I hope the internet fame was worth it, buddy. This is just me personally, but I've always had mixed feelings towards buddy trolling in general. Sometimes it can lead to people getting information that people like me, Kiwi Tape, Smokey, Nick Nobody, Biff the Wolfman, and pretty much people who do this kind of content and others can use in videos, and also expose information that can really make the subject in question look terrible, and maybe even potentially lead to their arrest or something. But it can also backfire. Most of the time the buddy trolls just end up looking pretty bad themselves. It's part of that whole saying of don't touch the poop. But enough talk about that. Let's actually listen to the audio of the call. This one took place on May 6th, so just a few days ago the time me making this.
Hello?
Okay, Daniel, I need you to listen completely for the next 10 minutes, and I need to talk to you, okay? I need you to not interrupt me, and I need you to be fucking serious right here, because this is probably the only time. This is one of the most important things I'm ever going to tell you. All of this has been, it's fake, man. I mean, I'm not Clark, I'm not a lawyer. I don't work for Interscope. Grace doesn't want to talk to you. The only reason Grace knows you is because she thinks either you're a predator and creep, and the only time you've ever talked to Tina was because she was telling you to back away. I mean, it hurts to say UCLA was fake, Interscope was fake. Every single thing that we did, it was fake. I mean, none of that was real, Daniel. I mean, and I can't keep leading you on here. And to be honest, you do need to learn your lesson. And I know we've acted like friends for the past 9 months, but really you're a sick guy, man. And I tried to give you the benefit of the doubt. Then I would see you send those to 15-year-old Sky Brown, say your things. You need to get some help. And I've been recording everything. We even worked with McDougall for a while, and I'm done. Like it's over, man. There isn't anything else to say. I've been lying to you. I've been faking fucking everything. Grace doesn't even know if she knows who you are, she thinks you're a weirdo. And yeah. I mean, and I get some circumstances, but at the same time, you really are a menace to the streets of Colorado. I'm a 20-year-old kid from St. Louis in community college, and I know literally nothing. So, I am going to say I won't be answering any more calls anymore. This is probably the last time we'll ever talk. You're fucked, and it's over, you know? I'm sorry, not really at the same time, because this has been the fucking weirdest 10 months of my life, and I've had to been talking to a pretty much pedophile for that whole time while also hurting my image. I even got fired from my fucking job in real life for this, Daniel.
Clark, it was you who decided to interact with Daniel for 10 months. At the end of the day, you knew what Daniel was before you even started talking to him. It's not like you didn't know, and you chose to mess with him and pretend to be his friend for months. You could have pulled the plug at any point. You made this decision, and it looks like you got more than what you bargained for by the sounds of it, but there's more to this call.
No, I'm in the middle of the most important call of my life right now.
To be honest, I kind of knew that you were trolling. And that's why I kept questioning everything.
The full call apparently went on for 16 minutes, but most of it was Clark telling Daniel everything was a lie and not really giving Daniel time to respond. Some of the other managers were pushing Clark to do another call to hear how Daniel felt about all of this. Because, I mean, Clark is dropping some truth bombs here. The following day, another call was scheduled, but then something weird happened. Clark went radio silent, and hours later he resurfaced in the manager's Discord server with screenshots of text from Bob Proctor. I believe this is actually Bob. And Bob claimed that Daniel had gotten into a fight with another inmate and wanted to talk to Clark. The managers urged Clark to do so, but Clark refused and even stated that he had been fired from his job for apparently being too drunk. Now, later on, he claimed that this was a lie, so I don't know, man. But that's besides the point. 3 days later, he called Daniel yet again for one final call. Now, this call in a vacuum isn't really that interesting, but given how this might be the final time we hear from Daniel where he can talk to someone on the outside for a long time, it kind of becomes a little more impactful, I guess. But I get the feeling this might be the end of Daniel Larson's story, at least online anyway. But after this call, Clark claimed he is retiring from interacting with Daniel. Likely Clark is worried the feds are potentially building a case against him. I wouldn't be shocked if that does happen at some point. I'm not going to play the entire call, but I'll link the full video with the final call in the description if you want to listen to all of it.
Hello?
Hi, Daniel.
Hi.
Okay, so
Sorry, before you say anything, I want to tell you that I am extremely sorry, and I want to try to fix our friendship.
I mean, it's not just, I feel like you have a lot of people to say sorry to, mostly, not just me, more like Bob and the restaurants and all the people that, even Grace, in a way, for tormenting her and her family for the past couple years.
I agree, and I will take the blame, but I want to fix everything. You know, we all make mistakes, and, you know, we all make mistakes, and it's how we move forward, right? And it's how we make progress.
I agree, and I know that Bob's been talking to you recently, so I hope you said sorry to him and everything, because I'm surprised he's even still talking to you after everything that went down.
I understand. And, you know, with Grace, I also understand what you said about it.
And that starts with me being honest, too, and I regret even all the fake Graces and all that. Yeah, that wasn't right to do for Grace, too, because I don't know her in real life, and I know she was probably not happy with people pretending to be her for the past couple years.
It goes on for a few more minutes after that. Apparently, Daniel is planning to plead not guilty. If that's true, then oh boy. Then he might be getting close to the max sentence for these charges if he don't take a plea deal. After this call, Clark was apparently defending himself on Reddit, and that's when he claimed that later on that he wasn't actually getting blasted at work, and that's why he didn't get fired because of that, and that he was just lying to fuck with people. But make of that as you will. But that's everything noteworthy that's happened so far. I doubt we're going to get too many more updates like this. Okay, seriously though, did anybody have Daniel getting busted by the feds in their deck of cards for this year? I sure didn't. This is a pretty wild situation and a potentially crazy ending to this whole thing. I hope Daniel gets a pretty harsh sentence, especially given his pedo tendencies, and he definitely shouldn't be out and about on the streets of Colorado unrestricted. Larson should not be in the public eye, and as weird as it may sound, prison might actually be the best thing for him, because at least he'll have a room and food and probably some psychiatric help, probably. But yeah, that's the end of Daniel's story for now. Unless something crazy happens, like he has the most insane ass pull ever and they just drop the charges. I don't think that's happening, but who knows at this point. But let me know what you guys think, and I'm gonna head out.